my neck of the woods, the weather has turned it down just a notch or two. Thankfully. 7 minutes after the top of the 8 o'clock hour in the Central Time Zone. Greetings, good evening. How you doing? Welcome into Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. Live from Studio 1, a little bit wet, but by the same token, I'm okay with that situation. It could have been a hell of a lot worse. By the way, I know we've got friends and family who listen inside the Central Alabama area. I hope everybody came through the weather situation okay. It's been, for those who don't know, it's been hectic down here. Tornadoes all the way across the board, severe thunderstorms in various places around the state, and I know that system is moving to the east right now, so keep your eyes open on your local weather and keep your ears right here. Catch us on the app. Easy. Thank you to everybody listening in so far this evening through the Beyond Ringside Radio app, available for Amazon, Android, and BlackBerry, through .com, and of course the all-new ProWrestlingRadio.net. I am still doing a lot of work to the site. I'm going to be getting another player optimized for mobile. So for everybody who wants to be able to listen, who can't on certain means right now, like I said, if you don't have the app, if you don't have TuneIn Radio, we're going to find a way, or me and my 37 other personalities. Yeah, that number shrank since last week. The only time shrinkage is a good thing. We'll talk later. Coming out at Monday night, let's go straight into it. By the way, before I do, I apologize. A little bit scattered. It's been hectic around here. The drive home was kind of like driving in a pinball machine, if that tells you anything. So to everybody who just can't seem to get it together to drive in the rain, get off the damn roads. Find a nice, quiet little place and wait. It's going to clear up a little bit more. Going to be joined in just a few minutes by a good friend of the family, and I will say, occasional co-host, Phil Stamper, going to be coming on board. Got a lot of things to cover. I drew some heat last night on Twitter, in particular because of a post that I made. And I'd made a comment publicly that I was not a big fan. Okay, my exact term to start with was that Stephanie McMahon took a page out of the playbook of the Wicked Nemesis by calling fans a waste of life. If you missed that one, now, I realize it's a promo, and I held up on making any additional commentary because I wanted you to hear it from my voice and not misconstrue what I put in text. First off, I'm not an idiot. For the people who caught me in DMs, who had enough class to catch me in DMs as opposed to putting it on my public timeline, thank you for coming to me behind the scenes. Don't mind. I don't mind in the least. You have a comment to make, I'm more than willing to listen. I've been known to shoot straight around here, and my definition of a straight shoot may be a little bit different than yours, and I may overread things every once in a while. I knew that Stephanie McMahon was cutting a promo, and all the way up until that one sentence, I was on board. When Steph is on top of her game, she is great on a microphone. I got no issue with that. But the thing that I'm going to sit here and say, there are some things that no one in any industry should ever refer to their ticket buying public as, no matter how much heat you think you're going to get. Because the heat that you get from one may be something to cause two others to change the channel. Did I change the channel? No. Was I going to? No. I wasn't mad. What I offered up was constructive critiquing. Because let's go ahead and shoot this other side. For the length of time that I've managed or come out of the heel locker room, there are some things that even I don't say. Now, I'm not saying that those who do are wrong. I'm just saying that you're opening up a can of worms and opening up Pandora's box to the point where you need to be a little bit conscious about what you say and how you say it. Yes, she was trying to emphasize a point. Yes, she was trying to drive it home. The comparison between Shane and the fans. Okay, I get that. There were 100 other things that she could have called people. I call people a waste of space all the time. I have no problem with that. But to go one step further, and actually that phrase was probably about 10 steps further, to utilize the term waste of life, no, there's an issue there. And like I said, I'm not mad, ill, upset, ticked, torqued, anything in that regard. I'm not even really disappointed. I'm just sitting back going, yeah, it's a case point scenario. That it's like somebody standing in the ring and looking at a fan go, I hope you die. I've known heels who have said that in a promo. And being very real about it. You've heard people here on this station who have made commentary about individuals saying that I hope they die, I hope they get run. Okay, there is a difference between saying, why don't you go get run over by a truck, and I hope you die. Big difference. Now, I'm not going to make a mountain out of a molehill on this. I'm really not, because it's not that huge of a deal. I thought that the promo, for the most part, that Stephanie cut inside the ring last night on Monday Night Raw was inspired. Vince, however, came off cardboard cutout. I'll get to that in a second. Steph has a tendency to run the entire gauntlet as it pertains to what she says in building up to a situation or cutting the promo when she's behind the microphone. She's got to be very careful because there are times when she just goes overboard. Now, this coming from a person who has gone overboard before on a microphone. I'm very, very cautious about how I say what I say because I don't want it to come off canned. I don't want it to come off extremely scripted, and I don't do scripted to begin with. Whether it be in a situation with Global or any other promotion with which I've worked or I currently work. I bullet points all day long. I got no issue with that. And I'm not sure how much of what Steph said was scripted and how much was her. But when she starts getting in that one particular zone, I sit back and go, yeah, never mind, you just lost me. I'm very critical when it comes to people on a microphone. I've heard people cut some of the most dynamite promos without even trying. Seriously. And there are times when you can tell when someone is trying too hard. And she ran the full gamut last night. There were points in there where anybody in any industry, when you do public speaking, you could have learned lessons from that promo last night. Flip side of the coin. Not a big fan of the one that Vince cut. He started out okay. Now, the situation with Taker, that was a good build-in. I almost expected Taker to come down, look Vince straight in the eye and go, no, what's my incentive? You know, it's almost like the old actors thing. What's my motivation? I expected Taker to sit back and go, who in the hell are you to put me in this match? But he didn't. I thought that would have been a good build-in. And they could have gone ahead and made Taker the mercenary in this situation. I didn't see it. There's a case point scenario. I know that Taker, I've said this before, and I said this Sunday night. Undertaker is in rarefied air. And I use that phrase very sparingly. There are those in any industry in which you are cast to where that individual transcends the typical boundaries and borders of a character. Taker is in that place. Austin hit that place. Rock hit that place. Even Hunter gets that every once in a while. Because you can be heel, you can be face, you can be tweener, whatever. You can ride the fence, whatever. And there are times legitimately where it don't work because the fans who pay attention will totally take that a different direction. You can try to make somebody a heel in a particular regard, and by the same token, let's put the world in proper perspective. If that individual, such as The Undertaker, is in rarefied air, they're not going to acknowledge the fact that Taker's the heel in this circumstance, just like they're not acknowledging the fact that Shane's babyface in the circumstance. They're going to sit back and watch the situation and go, Taker. Not bad Taker, not good Taker, not in-between Taker. Taker. That's it. Plain and simple. And that's the way I look at it, for the most part. I sit back and I look at the overall situation and I put things in proper perspective. Not only am I a fan, but this is a business to me. Always has been. Almost. Even before I climbed in the ring the first time. It's still both. I love it for what it is. I love it for what it's supposed to be. I love it for what it does and doesn't do. And I'm sitting here watching the broadcast of Impact right now. And they have just completed a match on screen with Kurt Angle and Bobby Roode. I have to put the world in proper perspective. There's been word going around that Kurt is not retiring. He's just leaving TNA because he wants to do other things. And I understand that he's got a situation coming up in the mixed martial arts community. At least that's what I've heard. I have not read the full reports. But I'm going to sit back and say this. I have called Kurt Angle on more than one occasion the premier wrestler of this generation. I call Ric Flair the premier champion of the generation. There is a difference in my book. Now, Kurt Angle, however you want to look at him, for all the mistakes that were made up and down the trail, which there weren't that many, just Kurt should remember never get on Twitter when he's lit. Like some of us have never done that before in our lives. Sure, fine, run with that. But to keep this thing in play, when Kurt Angle I hate the fact that Kurt had been so sporadically cast on Impact over the last couple of years, over the last year in particular. Because in my humble opinion, and the injuries had a lot to do with it, timing had a lot to do with it, and I understand that. But for me personally, for everything that Kurt has done for the W word, wrestling, not sports entertainment, not wrestling, wrestling, I respect and appreciate. Okay, if you're watching it along with me, you notice the fact that Cowboy James Storm just brought out a half gallon of 2%. Because Kurt turned down the beer. So for those who just had a flashback to when Kurt drove the milk truck on Monday Night Raw in his takeoff of the beer truck storyline, Kurt just decided to wear half the milk. So I have to keep this in play. Kurt Angle, in my opinion, is the premier wrestler of this generation, all the way through. I loved when he was with Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. I was trying to run it together and failed miserably because I thought Haas and Benjamin were a great team. And the addition of Kurt made it that much better. And whether Kurt was, regardless of what locker room Kurt came out of, he deserved respect. Like I said, some of the antics on social media, that's an entirely different ballgame. But by the same token, I'll put this world in proper perspective. There is only one Kurt Angle, Olympic gold medalist, world champion. The man could make a broomstick look like a number one contender for a world title. And I wish everyone would have given TNA a little bit better shake And for those who are watching the broadcast right now, it's a moment in time. And those are words that I don't use very, very loosely. Like I said, I wish him, no matter what he does, if he stays in wrestling, if he wants to go back to the E, if he goes to another sport, another industry. I know he's got an appearance coming up. I believe it's this weekend with Bellator. I'll double check my numbers. I may have missed it by a week. But I will sit back and say that you can't show enough respect for somebody who has put his body on the line so many times. And I wish Kurt all the best in whatever he decides to do. He's earned the right to do what he wants to do. Once again, I'll use those two words when it comes to Kurt Angle. True professional. In-ring talent, one of the best ever. Wrestler, one of the best ever. His amateur record and accomplishments have proven that. So you've got to keep everything in play. And I genuinely wish, and for those who have not watched it yet, since it's been on Pop TV, check out Impact. Screw the spoilers. I was watching on Twitter earlier today and somebody made it a point. Here's your spoilers for tonight's Impact. I wish somebody would just DDoS that account and just shut it down. I really do. I know the spoilers are going to be out there. A lot of people want to say, here's the updates from what's going on live during the TV taping. I'm sorry. Those who like to keep an organic feel to watching a broadcast, more power to you. And like I said, I'm not going to get started on this. I'm really not. What I am going to get started on for the next couple of minutes, I love the reaction during Raw. Saturday, March 12, exclusively on the WWE Network. WWE Roadblock. So far, the only match that has been announced for the show. WWE Championship match. Triple H defending against Dean Ambrose. They paid attention. If you watched the Rumble, when Reigns was ejected from the match, and it came down to Hunter and Ambrose, the response from the crowd inside the venue, you knew it. You knew it that was an organic response. It wasn't staged. It wasn't planned. I mean, it's like, look, how can you plan for the reaction of 30,000? Okay, not 30,000, but 13,000 people, unless of course you have CM Punk come out and his music hit, or Austin, or Rock, or HBK. WWE Creative has been pushing Ambrose, and I appreciate that because the man's got a wealth of talent. I think he is one of the best personalities on television today. He reminds a number of people, myself included, of Roddy Piper. The volatile nature, the insanity, all of the above. I'll either be watching this match on the road, on the way back from a road trip, or when I get settled into a hotel room that Saturday night. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with the match. Do I expect Ambrose to get the belt? No. Will I be pleasantly surprised or surprised in the least if he does? Hell yes, I will. Because that means they're going to change the landscape for what happens at Mania. Will they do it? I don't think they will. But I think this is a very vital litmus test for the creative team in WWE. Due to the simple fact that you've got a lot of people looking at what they're doing with and for Dean Ambrose. Because you're already seeing what he's done. He has managed to take this to a level that I don't think WWE's front office expected him to. They've done the right things at the right time, but you hear statements that they're not sure. Okay, when information allegedly gets leaked, and there's that A word, that they don't have anything for him and they're not sure what they're going to do with him. That's primarily because they don't want, in my humble opinion, they don't want for Ambrose to overshadow who they're calling their new golden boy. Here's the sad part about it. It's already happened. I have no issue with Roman Reigns being the face of the company, the flagship, if you will. I really don't. But I still don't think that he's totally ready. I think they fast-tracked him because they're scared of all the injuries that had been occurring. And you have the opportunity. Now, if you think I'm wrong on this, I want to know. At Fast Eddie Layne on Twitter, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter. Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside. I think, in my humble opinion, Ambrose can rise higher than Reigns. I really do. I think that if they put the belt on Ambrose, it will take the entire situation with Reigns. Okay, if they were to put the belt on Ambrose and send him to face Reigns at Mania, it would change the entire landscape of what they're trying to do to make Reigns the golden boy. I think that it would set the whole movement back. Plain and simple. Beyond any shadow of a doubt, it would set the whole movement back further than they're ready for. But if you think they're not going to pay attention to this match, you got another thing coming. They will be watching and listening to see and to hear how things go with the crowd response to Dean Ambrose. Will they think that they've made the mistake by not putting Ambrose in that circumstance? A lot of people look at Dean Ambrose and they want to put blinders and they want to put a limiter on how far he can go and what all he can do. You have somebody in that character that can legitimately parallel the value of the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, yes, I said that, and Roddy Piper. I think Ambrose would make a good transitional champion. But in this circumstance right here, they cannot put the belt on Dean Ambrose and let him go to Mania to face Reigns. That will, in my book, set back the entire movement of Reigns being the golden boy. If you give Ambrose the belt now and send him to Mania, they will boo Roman Reigns out of the building. The only recourse they would have at that point would be to put Reigns over and turn him heel for the moment. But when would you turn him back? Like I said, this is all hyperbole. This is all speculation on my part in this regard. Do I think for 1 minute that they would put the belt on Ambrose on the network? No, I don't. Then why did I go into that diatribe? Because it bears mentioning. It bears thinking about. So, keep that in perspective. Anything can happen in WWE. But no, I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be a very good match, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. But I'm going to sit here and say there's no chance in hell they put the belt on Dean Ambrose on the WWE Network during Roadblock. Nope, no way, no how. Tell you what, going to go to the break. Going to be joined by the Phenom Phil Stamper right here on Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. Stay tuned.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Merciless Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist and board member of Find the Dream, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Motor Fast Eddie Layne, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on beyondringside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on beyondringside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is the seven-figure deal, Ace Rockwell, and as long as Wicked Nemesis isn't on the show, please listen. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, half-heads, it's a 3-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrapline Adam Pierce, and just like me, you are locked in Beyond Ringside.
Got everything up and running. We're back in business here at Studio One. Like I said, the weather kicked us for a little while, and it's been kind of like on and off throughout the entire run. Fast Eddie Layne live from Studio One, welcoming back in, and welcoming in tonight, I should say, co-host, the Phenom Phil Stamper. Brother, how you doing tonight?
I am well. How about you?
Wonderfully well. I hesitated for a hot second because I was originally going to say the Phenom, then I held off, then I said, you know what, we're going to say it anyway. So,
how about this? Phil Stamper, President of Wrestling.
President of Wrestling.
President of Wrestling. Just sum it all up in one little bundle.
I'll take the job as press secretary.
There you go. Hashtag Trust and Phil.
I thought it was hashtag in Phil we trust.
No. Hashtag Trust and Phil. Because initially it was supposed to be, here, let me give you a tip. TIP, Trust and Phil.
There you go. Chaos, I do believe, busy would definitely be an understatement in your realm, right?
There are those moments. Of course, I always want to be busier. I always want to be doing more stuff.
You and me both. Before I go any further, once again, I want to say thank you to everybody joining us live tonight through BeyondRingside.com, the radio app, TuneIn Radio, and of course, the all-new ProWrestlingRadio.net. Players are up on that site, and actually going to be switching those players for different series, because I understand that some people are not able to get it on mobile device. So I am working right now to get a new player that is going to be cross-platform, that people are going to be able to use both on desktop and laptop, as well as on tablet and smartphone as well. So bear with me on that. It's going to be a tag process. The one that I find, and as soon as I get one that I'm really happy with, that's the one I'm going to run with. So bear with us on that one. So yeah, it's just been, I understand the concept. As busy as I am currently right now, I always have room for something else, hopefully, on the plate. Now, I know that everything that's been going on with MCW, Maryland Championship Wrestling, out of the last live event, You've got another one on the horizon this Sunday, March 6th. Tag Wars is going to be going on, and you've got a very special all-star. Actually, I don't know if I want to use the word all-star, but you've also got a Legends meet and greet going on this weekend, right?
That's a nice way to put it. Legends meet and greet. I almost wanted to say a Hall of Fame level event, but then I was like, oh, two of them aren't in the Hall of Fame yet. I would say MCW has continued to bring in a significantly high caliber of talent to the world of wrestling. And after having an event last weekend with over 600 people in attendance at not our regular venue, going into this weekend where I know we're going to do at least as well as that on a day that we typically don't run, I'm really excited about what this weekend is going to bring for MCW.
Jim Ross, Jerry the King Lawler, Booker T, the Nasty Boys, all set for a meet and greet this Sunday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Bell time for the live event is going to be 5:30 p.m. I want the flyer miles on this. They can't have them. I want the flyer miles. Now I have to ask the question. Just me on my little, just curious. Are you going to get JR and the King to call a match?
Yes.
Ass.
Yes, we are.
You ass.
Hey, why am I the ass? They agreed to do it. I'm going to say yes, and I think there's going to be more to see from the King.
Say what now?
I said, there's going to be more to see from the King, and that's all I'm going to leave out there.
Nice. Now, I'm going to go ahead and run this down for everybody because I have it directly in front of me. Phil's in transit right now, so I'm not sure exactly what all you got in front of you. Here's the rundown that I have in front of me. Ticket prices are, and let me know what is not available right now, okay?
Okay.
I've got front row seating set at $40 per ticket, correct? Or are there any left?
Yes, there still are some left.
Second row seating, $35 per.
We're still good.
Okay, that's what I was waiting on. Third row seating, $30.
Still good.
Traditional reserve seats, $25. And general admission.
The more the merrier.
And general admission seating is $20, correct?
Yes, sir.
I made it through that one without botching something up. I don't think we're going to have that problem tonight. Now, one of the matches that's going to take place, main event, 8-man tag team match. Do you have this in front of you, or you want me to go and run it real quick?
I need you to, if you could, please run it, but I will gladly give some thoughts on it.
Okay. Black Wall Street Drolix, Nepal, Solo and Chuck Lennox. King McBride, Ken Dixon, and the Entourage in the main event.
This has been building for some time. As much as the King's Court has driven under the fingernails and the brains and the eyelids of all of our fans, it's like slow motion nails scratching a chalkboard with them sometimes. And with the Entourage, it's caused Black Wall Street to come out and consistently help defend the honor of many many MCW superstars. And now they're going to be finally in action against some of the root of everybody's annoying pain in the form of this 8-man tag match. I think it's going to be fantastic. It's so interesting to see the dynamic of change inside of Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street, who used to be, well, maybe not the most liked individuals in MCW. Upon their return, the place erupted, exploded. It was exactly what people wanted to see and how they wanted to be.
Kodak moment set for this Sunday. Also, tag team action. Brandon Scott and Big Sean Studd taking on the Guns for Hire, Bill Collier and Paul Jourdain with Kevin Eck in their corner.
I think as we proceed into Sunday, we're going to find out a little bit more of how this dynamic came together, because the last time Brandon Scott and Big Sean Studd saw each other Well, they were going one-on-one with each other. So this is interesting. Brandon Scott has gone up and down a little bit in the rankings of MCW. Former MCW Rage Television champion. Big Sean Studd, who has, a lot to live up to in more ways than one. I think he's looking for that opportunity of where does he fit. And so, being that this is Tag Wars, they want to see what they can do together as a tag team as they go up against Guns for Hire. Guns for Hire is continuing to try to be a shield for the tag team champion, the Entourage. So in a way, if they're able to get past them, that could jump them up in the rankings for the tag team title.
Tag team action at Tag Wars this coming Sunday. The Hellcats, Sexy Steve and Jimmy Stars taking on Kai Katana and Phoenix Fury.
So the Hellcats have not had a good time as of recent. A few weeks ago, the Hellcats maybe got a little screwed out of a victory. Then they thought they were celebrating with another tag team Fed Up, C-Fed and G-Fed, and out of nowhere, Fed Up turned around and attacked the Hellcats, handcuffed Jimmy Stars to a turnbuckle while they absolutely beat the crap out of Sexy Steve, not listening to any official, not listening to me, to get out of the ring, to stop what they were doing. That has no place inside of a wrestling ring. And instead, when they didn't stop, they have now been suspended for a month. So Hellcats, they're still fighting, they're still at it. But then this past weekend, when we were in Hollywood, Maryland, out of nowhere, Fed Up's music hit, distracted them long enough where they lost their match. Fed Up never actually appeared. It was just some kind of trick out of somebody's arsenal. So now, finally, the Hellcats are going to go up against some great competitors. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're in.
Oh, I thought you were saying, I'm sorry. So they're going to go up against some great competitors in Kai Katana and Phoenix Fury. And this is going to be just a great, solid matchup.
And that is this Sunday. Remember, 5:30 p.m. bell time, I do believe. Have I got the right time on that?
Yes, sir.
Okie doke. Doors open at 4, meet and greet 4:30, bell time for the live event 5:30 p.m. That is going to be at the MCW Arena, 1000 Joppa Farm Road in Joppa, Maryland. It seems like we're missing a Joppa in there somewhere because we normally have 3 that we say right about there.
Right, because it is in the Joppa Town Center.
There you go. I knew there was one missing. I'm going to have to find that press release and rewrite it. Also, this coming Sunday, the Punk Rock All-Stars, Drake Carter and Sean Cannon, take on the Appalachian Outlaws. Depending on how you want to pronounce it, it's right for me. You pick your own pronunciation, folks. Bo Nakota and Oakley Woods and they've got an entourage. I said an entourage, not an ectourage. They've got an entourage with them, with Colonel Callahan, Ivy Woods, and Huss Haygood.
Hey, sometimes you got to bring the family with you, I guess.
I didn't know we were in Alabama.
Hey, we're Maryland. We're the next state over from West Virginia. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm bringing you in for the question of the night in a minute when we talk about this match and the next one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. But give me a little background on this one.
So this is another kind of a pairing for the tag team ranking. Let's see where each one goes. So the Punk Rock All-Stars 2 events ago were of our top 5 ranked tag teams. We're the only tag team other than Guns for Hire, which are sort of in the pocket of the Entourage anyway, to pull off the victory. The Appalachian Outlaws ranked number 1, but they were kind of screwed in their title match opportunity. They were able to score a victory this past weekend, so they still are pretty deserving of a number 1 title shot. So now it's like, okay, Punk Rock All-Stars, you were able to pull off a victory a few weeks ago. Punk Rock All-Stars this past weekend also pulled off a non-title victory
over the Entourage. Right.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was agreeing.
Oh, so now it's their opportunity to see if they're worthy of a number 1 title contendership, or do the Appalachian Outlaws stay as the number 1 contenders?
Now, in a singles match that is going to captivate, I will say that with zero hesitation whatsoever, Eddie Smooth taking on Leo Rush.
I think one of the interesting dynamics in MCW, and certainly one of our most recognizable events of the year, is an event called Shamrock Cup, where every year it brings a number of top independent wrestlers from around the country and has them compete. Leo Rush is a former MCW tag team champion with Tough Enough contestant Patrick Clark. They were best friends growing up, so it wasn't like we randomly paired them together. Leo Rush is from Maryland. He's a Maryland boy who was trained at MCW. It was by some other people. Just say it. So he is an MCW guy. Eddie Smooth is starting to make a good name for himself in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area, sort of that North Mid-Atlantic, Southern New England, but not really in New England area. So last month we brought Shane Strickland and Facade, who absolutely tore down the house, showed us things that people never thought they would saw inside of a wrestling ring. And Leo Rush and Eddie Smooth are going to do the exact same thing. It's going to be absolutely stupendous.
Like I said, this match, in my book, guaranteed to captivate. I've watched Leo Rush on a number of occasions. I've seen Eddie Smooth before. And for these two inside the ring, one-on-one, is going to be a match that people are going to... I'm going to sit back and say Kodak moment more than anything else. I know that there was originally a game plan in place, to my knowledge, for Leo to be in Atlanta this coming weekend, but to find out that it's going to be with MCW this weekend, it's like, hey, I'm good. Because he and Eddie are going to tear the house down. That's all. That's the easy way for me to say it. And I'll go ahead and go ahead.
No, I laughed. You're good.
Folks, real quick, write this number down. 888-996-4774. That is a way to get tickets for this coming Sunday. You can also get tickets by going over to MissionTix, MISSIONTIX.com, and running the quick search for MCW. You can get tickets for this coming Sunday, as well as Saturday, March 19th, where they've got another live event, Spring Fever 2016, actually part of the Spring Fever 2016 tour, featuring very special guests at this point in time, Billy Gunn, Tommy Dreamer. Hello. Don't blink. You've got Lawler, Ross, Book, Nasties, and then you're going to follow up with Gunn and Dreamer? Yeah, Hall of Fame quality is go ahead. You can just go ahead and start using that term. We're good with that. I'm perfectly good with that. And the tickets are also available at the Baseball Card Outlet and Sports Memorabilia, 7502 Eastern Avenue in Baltimore. You can go to Hideaway Leather, that's Hideaway Leather, 6713 Hullabird, Hola Bird Avenue in Dundalk, Maryland, or at the Joppa Marketplace, 1000 Joppa Farm Road in Joppa, Maryland, especially including the day of the event.
Exactly.
Here you go. But now, how crazy has it been for you? I know, because you've got GSW, you've got everything going on, all the marketing, and with everything happening going back to back practically with MCW, normally I would ask, do you have any hair left to pull out? But I'm not going to ask that question.
Watch it.
Hey, those of us who know you understand the paradox of that phrase. But by the same token, how much sanity do you have left?
Surprisingly, I'm still staying with it. There are. How do I try to make this next statement code? Of MCW, Grand Slam, Rockstar, IWA East Coast, all of those places are not the ones that cause me to lose sleep at night. I stay pretty happy with my involvement at all of those places. So those who know me well enough to read in between that line can read exactly what they want to in that line.
You added one, because that last one you mentioned I was unfamiliar with.
IWA East Coast?
That's it.
So let's say that there is a maturing relationship between myself and IWA East Coast. The promoter, Michael Tawney, and myself are good friends. I was there at their Masters of Pain tournament back in this past summer, and I have kept a decent involvement with them I wasn't able to make it this past weekend because I was at Maryland or at NCW. So I will be there for their event in April.
How many times do you wish you had either a more economical car or your own private jet?
Oh, I want a transporter. I want the Star Trek beam me up Scotty.
No, because I'd get in trouble. I'd use the phrase, beam me up, Scotty. There's no intelligent life here. I really would. I'd use that eventually. Now, actually, you made a reference to Rockstar. Let me go ahead and run this one real quick, folks. Rockstar Pro Wrestling returns tomorrow, March 2nd and March 4th. March 4th will be an iPay-per-view. This, and also, hold on. Yeah, because tomorrow is March 2nd. Amped, 7:30 p.m. Tickets are only $6. The Foundation has run rampant across Rockstar, throwing a wrinkle into devious plans, and Rockstar boss CW offered an open challenge against Jake Chris, put the T on the end of the word, Eddie, and Ron Mathis for this week's episode of Amped. That challenge has been responded to by Jake's brother Dave and his wife Nevia, the team of Yeah Girl. Anything
That's
you
right.
like? Anything? Go ahead.
Nevaeh.
I know. I get it right every once in a while, but not that often. I figured you were going to run with that one for a second. Sorry about that.
I just had my brain had to process. I apologize. I will say that the Foundation, which Jake Christ, I would say he's the leader of, has been running a little roughshod across Rockstar. They got a little salt kicked in their wounds at Rockstar's last pay-per-view during Armageddon Game. That's right, Armageddon, not war, Armageddon Game.
Right.
Think Ultraviolence Meat War Game. It was a bit intense. So to see CW Scott, the boss of Rockstar, go, I want an open challenge, and then to see Nevaeh respond as being one of the two people to now face Jake, there'd be problems at home.
Big problems at home. Now, also, tomorrow night at Rockstar, Best of the Best, Alex Colon takes on the baddest man alive, Aaron Williams, one-on-one matchup, and that one is absolute. Folks, don't blink during this one because somebody's going to slug. That is going to be a very hard-hitting match, and that's the easy way for me to say it, right, Phil?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's going to be the understatement of the night.
Now, another person who's going to end up racking up some decent frequent flyer miles this week is going to be great friend of ours, the Lariat DJ Hyde, the owner of Combat Zone Wrestling. Because Friday night, beware the Ides of March on iPay-per-view from Rockstar Pro Wrestling. I'll run this one at light speed. Stop me if there's one you want to jump in on. International star Jonathan Gresham takes on the King of Dayton, Dave Christ, in a no DQ match. American Lucha Core champion, the White Trash Messiah, Ron Mathis, defends against Rockstar boss CW Scott, who he feels as a retired wrestler should never have put his hands on him during last month's Armageddon Games, where Scott put Mathis through a pane of glass. And that moment is available at DIYWrestling.com. The Rockstar Pro Tag Team Champions. This is awkward? Yes. Sid Fabulous, Benjamin Camara take on former champs Grits and Gravy. Still one of my favorite team names. I don't care. I'm from Alabama. I can get away with that. The combination of Bruce Gray and John Murray. A bull rope match will take place between Josh Sampson and the Lariat DJ Hyde. Former tag champs, now rivals, the baddest killers alive, go one-on-one as Jake Christ faces off against Aaron Williams. In the third match of their best-of-3 series, Chainsaw Joe Gacy takes on the Prodigy Zachary Wentz. And the best of the best, Friday, Alex Colon takes on the Pitbull. Now, I've had different pronunciations on it. I'd like to hear yours.
Ganger.
That's what I've been told. Thank you. Also, this show featuring the Hooligans, Devin and Mason Cutter, and a whole lot more. Facebook event pages up there, facebook.com/Rockstar Pro Wrestling, twitter.com/Rockstar Pro WRES, and that's the way it's listed on the PR. From there, also available on Instagram, Rockstar Pro Wrestling. Do you happen to know how much the tickets are going to be for the event?
For AMP, it is only $6, and for the pay-per-view on Friday, I don't want to be quoted because I will probably be wrong, but if you go to rockstarprowrestling.com, you can find all the information there.
There you go. We got some other events I do want to talk about. We are 7 minutes after the top of the 9 o'clock hour in the Central Time Zone, to which Phil just sat back and said, hey, I got an hour back. No, you didn't. Fast Eddie Layne and Phil Stamper on Back to Basics on this Tuesday night, and I am going to bring you in on the question of the week.
Uh-oh.
Are there those moments when a promo is being cut, that you're listening to this being done, that you just automatically go, oh boy, line crossed? And I'm not saying language. I'm saying what's being said. Because, you got the majority of the companies that run nowadays, regardless, especially across the lower 48, the majority of the companies run PG shows, family-friendly shows that kids can come to, families can come to, all the way across the board. So you know that you're not going to have a huge problem with profanity, other than maybe #HellDamnAss. Hi there, kids. But what has been one that you've listened to recently? And there's a reason why I asked this. And if you saw Raw last night, you know what I'm about to bring up. You may know. But where has been the most recent one? You don't have to mention names. We're not going to bury anybody. That you've heard that you just heard the words come out of the person's mouth and through the PA system, and you said, oh, God, line crossed.
Well, I will say last night on Raw, the opportunities that Dean Ambrose could have taken with Triple H and didn't. It was sort of like there was a wide open hand in front of me, and I was doing nothing but looking at the spaces in between the fingers. I was like, I know exactly what you're thinking, and I know what you would say and put right there, but you can't say it right now. Yeah, there was a lot of those moments. On the independents, so here's a little evil secret. Those moments in my wrestling career where I have been a little bit of a jerk, and I cut a promo on somebody, there's probably more than one time, or almost every time, when I probably kind of believe an element of what I'm saying. Really believe it. Especially when I start going down the route of, you're really not intelligent. I really kind of think that. And of course, it's a promo, so I'm just amplifying it. But there's an element of truth to it, which is why I think people buy it so well. One of my best friends in the world of professional wrestling, his name is Jason Collins. I don't know if you are familiar with him being down that way.
I've heard the name, but I've only heard the name.
Okay. Great standout athlete. He should be everybody who's listening, you need to book Jason Collins, by the way. He's one of my best friends in the world of wrestling. And when I first met Jason, it was at a tournament that we were both in North Carolina. And he came in. I was working with some green kids in the ring. And he came up. He said hi to me, shook my hand, and he walked off. I think he actually went back outside. And I continued to work on with the kids in the ring. And he comes up to the ring. Now, this is the first time I'd ever met him, talked to him ever. And he goes, hey, Phil, can I talk to you for a minute? I was like, sure. He pulls me away from the ring, and he's like, I just want to say I'm sorry. And I was like, what, why, what for? I've never met you. What's going on? He goes, I believed every word that you said and all of the promos I've ever seen you in. And I really thought you and I were going to have a problem tonight, legit. I want to say I'm sorry. And I was like, I don't know what you believed, but I hope you keep on believing it.
There you go.
And we responded, and we've been like best friends now for 2 years.
Well, the moment that I'm referring to in Monday Night Raw was when Stephanie was in the ring. Mm-hmm. And she was going off on the fans, saying how she felt that Shane reminded her of the fans, went down the thing about entitled, da-da-da, 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 and ended her sentence with the words, a waste of life. Now, like I said, everybody's entitled to hear things the way that they want to hear them. And that's perfectly cool. I equated her utilization of those words to the same level of when in-ring talent, manager, whatever, looks at someone in particular, looks at one person and goes, I hope you die. It's like, there's some things in my book that should never be said during a promo, especially when you've got look, if you're in a bar show and it's 21 and over, okay, you can say a little bit more. But you're going to deal with a situation with kids going, what does she mean, a waste of life? Oh, hi, Mom and Dad. Let's see you explain that one. Or if that same, or the second phrase I put out there, when you look somebody and go, I hope, when talent looks at a fan and goes, I hope you die. Mommy, right. Daddy, why are they saying that? And Mom and Dad get put in a very precarious circumstance because they have to try to explain a pro wrestling promo. Oh, they didn't mean it. They're just going to beat them up later. It's to a fan. You're going to beat up a fan? No, you're not. You wish a fan was dead? No. But you see where I'm going with that, right?
Yeah.
And let me get your thoughts.
Well, you're right. There is a particular line that you have to watch. In WWE, that has been so focused on making sure that they maintain a mainstream product, something that everybody can watch. Here's the sort of tricky moment of that. Is they're at a point where they're getting ready to build towards WrestleMania. I've heard general statements from a good number of people that they're not overly excited about this year's WrestleMania yet. That they're lacking a little bit of an oomph for it.
Why do you think they're
interesting? You already know The Rock's going to be there. You know Undertaker's going to be there. You already know some of the matches that have been set up. So, okay, what's the concern? What's going on? And I mean, we talked about this the last time when we were talking about Daniel Bryan's retirement. Okay, something else is going on behind the scenes that we're totally not aware of, and I think that's still the case. I think there is a need or a want to build up some more particular interest at this time of year. And that's sort of combined with seeing a statement about how WWE wanted to ramp up the product a little bit in advance of this year's WrestleMania. I don't think any of these things are separate issues. I think they're all conjoined. I think so for fans who are trying to come back in to get ready for WrestleMania, who are the 1 year, this is the time I watch wrestling fans, okay, well, let's give a little bit of nostalgia back towards the way a lot of that fan base really likes wrestling, really likes the Attitude Era, really likes some of the elements that we had. I mean, we're back to Shane versus Steph, sort of versus Vince. We're back to, the Undertaker riding roughshod on Vince. You're back to an authority figure in Triple H going against a rough riding crazy person. This kind of it's Dean Ambrose, not a foul-mouthed drunkard like Steve Austin. I don't mean that in a bad way when I said foul-mouthed drunkard, but that's what he was. It's where were they trying to go? And they're trying to just latch on to that kind of entertainment. I do agree with you, but if you look over the past couple of years, typically when somebody is crossing the line or blurring that page, it's a McMahon. Because if everybody does it, it sort of loses an interest. If everybody is doing it, oh, well, who cares? We'll get so burnt out by it. And I remember specifically when the Attitude Era, for me, when the Attitude Era ended, I don't know if it's really when the Attitude Era ended, let's say roughly 2002, and the thing I remember being reported on was that there was a statement by the WWE that they were telling their talent to back off, to not take as many risks, and to purposely sort of make themselves geared towards family entertainment.
Right.
And my brain went, why would you do that? Why would you do that? it also responded very clearly at that time, because when they do it now, when they do these moments of a little bit of attitude, and they do these moments of crossing the line, it's going to stand out that much more than it did in the Attitude Era. At first, yeah, it was cool, but after a while, it's like, okay, we've kind of seen this. We need something different. And I thought it was going in the wrong direction, but now if you look at it, those are the highlights of Raw. So yeah, it is a very special balance. It is a big risk when you do things like that, and you have to be careful. For me, a guy who is in the world of independent wrestling, I have to be careful at what I say in the ring, even if I'm going to be a little bit of a jerk when I cut a promo. Because tomorrow I'm going to have to walk into an office somewhere, and if by chance somebody has happened to see a promo of mine, oh crap, I hope I don't say anything that causes me not to be in this office any longer. And that's a line I know for myself where I'm at in my moment that I can't cross. You look at I'm trying to be really careful when I say this one. Muhammad Hassan, he did nothing wrong, but the promo was to represent what was happening in real life. Or not his promo, excuse me. He did an attack on The Undertaker, and it was like a quote-unquote terrorist attack.
Right.
But what ended up happening was, after they filmed SmackDown, in real life was the London bombing.
Right.
And then SmackDown aired, and WWE got so much negative flack. If you go back even further, you look at Hulk Hogan, Sergeant Slaughter, when Sergeant Slaughter turned Iraqi sympathizer.
Correct.
That was their lowest. That was their lowest time in the rating. It does not play well. I don't want to out them because goodness forbid, I probably don't know the full story of every little piece of the story. But bear with me for a moment. There was an independent company. They did a thing where there was a bounty on one of their wrestlers, and here comes this guy to the ring, and all their matches were a steel cage, and this guy comes out dressed as a stereotypical generic terrorist, had what looked like fake bombs strapped onto a vest, had a replica-looking gun with an orange cap, I will add, at his side. He wrestles his match. It's all done and over. Fans got really upset. It got to the attention of the local news. The local news finds out who this guy is. They put out all his information on the local news. Come to find out he's on probation. He can't have replica weapons on his person. Forget that it's a wrestling event. It doesn't matter. His probation, he's now in jail. He's in jail for having a wrestling gimmick where he portrayed a terrorist. I just want to, so these things are very real sometimes. It crosses lines that sometimes we don't perceive. And it is a place where you have to be really, really careful. McMahon has nothing to worry about because they're a McMahon. I hate to say it like that. And when I say a McMahon, I also include Triple H in that level.
Right.
But like I said before, what I first thought was going to happen to Raw, and here I'm looking at my hand going, oh, let me look at the spaces in between my fingers and all the things Dean Ambrose could have said. He didn't say it because it's his job.
Right. Got a question. Can you hang one more segment?
Absolutely.
Folks, tell you what, we're going to go to a quick one. We will be back on Back to Basics right after this.
What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy Rave, and you're listening to the only Jimmy Rave approved radio show. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
The Mad Dog's House of Pain, the only nationally licensed pro wrestling school in the state of Alabama. Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, trained by the Junkyard Dog, will be your trainer. You want to be a professional wrestling superstar? Learn from GCW's own Mad Dog's House of Pain. With over 22 years experience, learn from the Mad Dog's House of Pain. 205-567-6482. Start your career today. Call 205-567-6482.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside, and you are a better person for it. Trust me.
2010, after 2 years of constant bullying, 11-year-old Ty Smalley took his own life. In the past 7 years, more than 55,000 children have taken their own lives due to bullying. That's 22 youth suicides every day. Stand for the Silent is a grassroots organization that educates people about the harsh reality of bullying and the devastation it causes, and they need your help. Visit standforthesilent.org to learn how you can get involved and help us to save lives.
I stand for the silent.
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 I'm Roddy Piper, and we stand for the silent.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
This is Harley Race, 8 times NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, first ever King of the Ring, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Hi, this is April Hunter from aprilhunter.com, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
I'm Bobby Ches, a 3-time world champion, Showtime expert analyst for more than 10 years. You're locked in to the On Ringside.
Back to Basics continues on this Tuesday night, first day of March. I'm getting in touch with every law enforcement agency I know. We're going to give February a speeding ticket. It got out of here way too fast. It had to be breaking some kind of rules in the time-space continuum. Fast Eddie Layne on this side of the control panel. Phil Stamper, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Got a couple of things I want to run down real quick. Folks, for our friends down here in the southeastern U.S., this coming Saturday, March 5th, Peach State Wrestling Alliance returns to the historic VFW Fairgrounds, 1625 Bankhead Highway in Carrollton, Georgia. The opening round of the quest to be the best, the Peach State Wrestling Alliance Heritage Title Tournament. Sweet 16 opening round matchups. CB Suave taking on Gil Quest. Jimmy Rave, the savior of pro wrestling, the crown jewel, takes on Drew Adler. Sal Renaro taking on Fried Eddie. Jeter taking on AJ Steele. Folks, these 4 matches have 4 very unique dynamics involved. For a lot of people, you know, a number of our friends around the southeastern U.S. know who CB Suave is. Very talented in-ring competitor. A lot of you are not, have not had a chance to find out about Gil Quest. Both CB making his return to Peach State Wrestling Alliance. Gil making his premiere in Peach State, PWA, this coming Saturday night. I will sit back and say this. The Rave Adler match is going to be completely off the chain, chart, scale, meter, graph, whatever you want to put. Because Rave really never lost the title. Because of the extenuating circumstances which occurred over a 2-match series between Rave and Sal Renaro, Bill Behrens, the special liaison for the Georgia Wrestling Committee and Commission, I'll get one of the 2 words right in a minute, held up the title and vacated it. That's why this tournament is taking place. Rave is going to have a lot to prove, but Drew Adler making his return to PWA is also going to have a lot to prove. So you are going to get a chance to see 2 top flight stars going at it big time. Sal Renaro versus Fried Eddie. I will tell you what, if the Sal Renaro that shows up is the same Sal Renaro that can put together a technical masterpiece like I know he can, this match with Fried Eddie is going to be one of your Kodak moments of the night. And then you are going to have, and I'll put it this way, Folks around the Southeast, especially in Georgia, you've seen Fry Daddy, you've watched him in ring. You know that he can go with the drop of a hat, and it's going to be an exciting matchup. Seriously. And you've got Jeter and AJ Steele. Oh, my God. In the words of David Letterman. Not exactly a dated reference yet. This match will have haymakers that will register on the Richter scale. That's how hard these two will punch. Jeter's a hoss. AJ's a juggernaut. I call him a tank. We've moved him up to juggernaut. Mainly because Wick gave me $5. And which means I'll be looking at the Skype line in the next 5 minutes to see if I mentioned his name. If Wick will actually call in, that's 2. But those are your first round matchups this coming Saturday night in the Quest to be the Best tournament. And also, the Peach State Tag Team Championships will be on the line. The new champion, Shane Knowles, also my tag team partner on Saturday mornings, and his partner, Nigel Sherrod, as seen on TV. With the necessary evil, here's his third reference in the last 5 minutes, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, also the host of the To Be Determined show, right here on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio, will be taking on the former champs in a rematch, the beautiful Bald Besties. I've been giving this a lot of thought. And knowing Shane and Nigel, and very familiar with the Besties, you all know that the Besties can go with any style of tag team that they're faced up against. And I'm not saying that Shane and Nigel won on a fluke. They won. Out and out. Saw the match. I just have to sit back and say that Shane and Nigel are going to have their work cut out for them this coming Saturday night because the Besties don't like losing. Nasty things happen when the Besties lose. And no, y'all can't steal that phrase. Somebody's going to try. I know they're going to try. Ticket availability, and we're going to have a lot more information this coming Saturday morning on the Shooters Gallery. And like I said, it's going to be appearances for the Beyond Ringside family of shows up one side and down the other. There's rumors about a Mark Mabo Bowman sighting. Yours truly, I'll be back behind the microphone doing commentary. Wicked Nemesis, of course, managing the tag team champions. Shane Knowles, one half of the tag team champions. See? Now, go find your favorite radio station or your favorite podcast. And you've heard the factor that my co-host, Phil Stamper, GM for 2 different companies. Or is that 3 now?
GM of 2, owner of 1.
There you go. Well, I know you're the owner of Heartland Wrestling Association. I didn't leave that out intentionally. Yours truly, over 30 years, not to mention the fact that I do commentary for 3 different companies. Wick, manager, host of TBD. Shane, promoter, Saturday morning. Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, owner, co-host of GCW Radio. Clyde Braddock, to be determined, in-ring talent. That's another freaking juggernaut waiting to be unleashed. Can your show that you listen to say that they've got more people in the business than we do? I don't think so. And I was going to put Tim on the end of that, but after having just the conversation we had with Babs with Excellence Pro the other day, I didn't feel I needed to make a Toolman reference in there anywhere. Tickets are very much available. $10 for adults, $6 for kids ages 7 through 15. 8 children ages 6 and under are free. Here's your phone numbers, kids. 770-328-1162 or 770-328-2251 for ticket information. Or you can send an email. PWAfanbase@yahoo.com. Doors open at 7, bell time 8 o'clock p.m. And I'm not going to get shot at. I'm going to go ahead and let you know something. I've got it on good authority. Tommy Too Much will be there this Saturday. What's going to happen when Too Much gets there? Don't blink. Because if you do, you could be in the middle of it. Also, want to let everybody know, back-to-back shows, back-to-back days inside the great state of Georgia. And the Beyond Ringside family of shows is going to be represented at both of them. Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment makes the return this Sunday to the famous pub on North Druid Hills Road. Here's your rundown. The rematch. Sugar Dunkerton taking on Ethan Page. this would be a main event in so many different companies, and AWE has got it this coming Sunday. Phil, I know you're familiar with both individuals, right?
You said Ethan Page or Ethan Case?
Ethan Page.
Oh, I am familiar with both of these individuals.
I know.
I am very interested in seeing how badly Sugar Dunkerton will beat the face off of Ethan Page.
I was actually working to get Dunk on during our first hour this evening. That's where I sent you the message, say we'd had a change up. Dunk wasn't able to be here this evening, but he knows he's got an open door. Just shoot me a call anytime, and anytime we got a show going on, I'm more than happy to bring him on. But he had something come up this evening. The Spring Street Challenge hits the road as the Spring Street Suicide Squad, Chris Crunk and Kenley, taking on Team IOU. Folks, if you are a tag team wrestling fan, and I know I got a ton of them down here in the southeastern U.S., this match will make you a fan of tag team wrestling all over again. And if you're already a fan of tag team wrestling, you'll become that much more of a fan. Nick, Iggy, Kerry Awful, absolutely tremendous in-ring talent. Like I said, Crunk and Lee, these two guys can light it up at the drop of a hat in probably one of the hardest hitting matches that you will see this coming Sunday in the southeastern U.S., and I don't mean to overqualify that by putting too much of a disclaimer on this one. The being of unspeakable horror, as he is known, also known as the No Pain Train Iceberg, goes one-on-one with Combat Zone Wrestling's very own, the Lariat DJ Hyde. You have the man who sets the bar for... I got to move my phone. I just realized it was cracking the speakers. I apologize for everybody listening too.
Great timing.
Nothing.
Nothing.
I have an iPhone on Sprint, and it was static was picking up in the system. Sorry about that. But go from there. You've got the man who sets the standard for hardcore and ultra violence up in the northeastern U.S., taking on one of the most prolific ultra violent competitors that has ever been in the southeastern U.S. You want to say North and South is headed for a collision? You're damn right, and it's this Sunday at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. The girls of WSU come to roar at AWE this Sunday. Phil, you're going to be very familiar with these two ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Brittany Blake taking on Penelope Ford. Would you like to handicap that one?
I'm trying to say things that aren't going to come off inappropriate because these are two great, tremendous competitors, but they're both good friends, and I would kill to see this match. These two are going to beat the snot out of each other. No, I may lean a little heavier towards one side of that equation than the other, but I won't give it that part away. I would be really looking very much forward to that match, and I think a lot of women who would like to consider themselves to be top-notch competitors might find themselves being the little Southern belles that they are, and you need to be paying attention to this match.
Oh, hell yeah. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this one. Drew Adler will be with AWE this coming Sunday, and he is taking on Space Monkey. Don't blink. Do not blink. Do not blink. A match that...
I can't tell you how much I want to see a Space Monkey match. I have seen clips of him all over the place, but I don't see a whole match. I want to see Space Monkey.
I'm going to see Space Monkey Sunday. The Beyond Ringside cam will be there. And Beyond Ringside will be live this coming Sunday. The minute the show wraps up, BR goes live from the famous pub on North Druid Hills this coming Sunday. In the championship ranking system for AWE, a challenge match has been made. Martin Stone taking on Slade Porter. And in your main event, the fallout from Hail to the King continues. As the AWE heroes, Owen Knight, Kira Hogan, and Adrian Armour in a mixed 6-person tag match take on members of the Hierarchy. Do or Die Chip Day, the urban legend Murder One, and the Chikara Grand Champion Princess Kimber Lee, who just recently lined herself up with the Hierarchy in a very unpopular move with the AWE fans. They're hoping that the heroes can stand up and recapture the honor that they feel was yanked out from under them by Kimber Lee's treachery. What's going to happen? You better be there. This Sunday, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment presents Almost Famous, and they're on the road to Homegrown, which is going to be another huge event for AWE. Check out AtlantaWrestlingEntertainment.com, at ATL Wrestling ENT on Twitter and Instagram. They're also on Facebook. Easy to find. I want to say thank you to Josh Wheeler for coming on board last Saturday during the Shooters Gallery. Greatly appreciated. He and I managed to set it up in basically record time. And it's basically a case of, hey, Josh, you mind if he said, I'll have you a place set aside. Be there. I didn't even have to finish the sentence, and I didn't let him finish his either. But this will be the first time in a couple of months that Beyond Ringside has been able to go live from AWE. We tried at the Masquerade show, but the building just would not let us do it. And also the Dipsticks cut the power to our setup while they were trying to do cleanup, so that kind of like shorted our whole thing out. So, hey, butt munchers. Yes, I just said that.
Breathe.
Yeah. But two great shows, two great nights, and also on Saturday the 12th, the combined forces of DCW and Global Championship Wrestling invade Dalton, Georgia. I will have more updates on that show this weekend on Beyond Ringside Sports Radio. I'm really looking forward to the DJ Iceberg match.
I'd like to ask why.
Because, like I said, you have Combat Zone's DJ Hyde, the Lariat, a man who helped set the bar for ultraviolence in the northeastern U.S., taking on a man who has been in so many different styles of weapons matches and hardcore matches in Iceberg. I'm really just, I'm sorry, I'm wearing a suit of armor that day, which was probably going to be the dumbest thing I could do because they'd use it as a weapon. I would probably be dismembered by them trying to take apart the outfit. But I'm going to throw this one to you, and this was something I also brought up during segment 1 this evening on Back to Basics, as we open it back full scale. The only match that has been announced for this coming Saturday, WWE Roadblock, which is exclusively on the WWE Network, is Dean Ambrose, the maestro, the leader of the Ambrose Asylum, challenging for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in Triple H, the current champion, on the network. Does this match have the look to you that it does to me, that this will blow up in the face of WWE in a way that they're not ready for?
Well, in a couple different ways. So first, I thought it was the 12th, not this Saturday.
Okay, 12th, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to make sure because I could be completely wrong. Apparently, because I don't know their view counts. I don't know how they watch their rankings, all that kind of stuff. Apparently, when they had the match from the show from Brooklyn that was exclusively on the WWE Network, that also aired on a Saturday, that must have gotten significant views in order for them to consider to do this again. Or, hey, let's try it, see what happens a second time, because this will be our last opportunity to do something a little bit more exclusive, a little bit more high profile before we get to WrestleMania. The fact that it's the only match announced so far, that's a little interesting to me. What has happened to make this different? Is it a fact of there's a little burnout on Roman Reigns, and we need to get him off the air for a minute so he can sort of recoup, so maybe he comes in and makes a big save somewhere down the road. Hey, we recognize, listen to that noise that, people happen to get loud at. Oh yeah, a pop that Dean Ambrose gets that Roman Reigns doesn't get. Maybe it is in recognition of, oh, wait a minute, maybe we went in the wrong direction or needed to go in this direction after all. But because at the same time, though I totally believe in Dean Ambrose, I think there are still moments where WWE's unsure about him, and I'm unsure about him. Is he a little bit too much of that loose cannon, but he's still under the legitimate control of a corporation, and that they're afraid of what happens when that control, something may happen to slip, and they lose that kind of element. But they want to make it a little unsettled. They're calling it Roadblock, which says to me, okay, there's a little bit of a double underhanded meaning on this one. That something behind the scenes is going, we need to change the game a little bit. We need to modify this. I mean, the most likely scenario out of this, nothing changes. This is a neutral sum game. It's an opportunity to get people back onto the network just in time for WrestleMania, to get more people on board, to go, hey, look, you don't have to pay all this money to WWE Network for a pay-per-view. You can pay it directly to the WWE for just $10 a month. Hey, we want all 1 million people that still bought the pay-per-view last year switch over to the network and increase our rates. Okay, maybe. Could it end up, okay, let's say Dean Ambrose walks away with the title. They have 3 weeks until WrestleMania after that. Do they? Okay, let's head to WrestleMania, and now it's a four-way dance. It's Roman Reigns, who was promised this match, and Triple H, who was going to be in this match, and Brock Lesnar, who was promised to be in a street fight with Dean Ambrose, and it's a four-way street fight for the WWE Heavyweight Championship.
Nice.
Maybe. Because now what you've done is you've put what really would have been two names in two different caliber matches and now merge them all in one. It does make the stakes a lot higher. It makes it a little bit interesting. I don't know if they're willing to do that kind of risk right now. But at the same time, what somebody else has said to me is, would WWE put all their eggs in that one basket when really right now they want him to get so behind Roman Reigns? And if he's in there with Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose, and Triple H, three people that the WWE Universe cheers louder for, that's a bad place for Roman Reigns to be.
I still say my favorite sign in the last 2 years was one that has been, the meme has been circulating all over social media yet again, and I managed to save it the first time it went around. The sign says very clearly, if Roman Reigns wins, we go home afterwards. I'm sorry, that's sign of the year in my book.
I really think, and I can't remember what the date was, the Raw where the main event ended up being Sheamus and Roman Reigns, and people walked out of the building.
Yeah,
I really think that scared WWE a little bit. I really think that sort of made them wake up a little bit, but only to a degree because, hey, the crowd at home, the majority of that crowd, they don't, or the people watching at home, they don't know what happened. They don't know why. And even me saying it, I don't know, okay, well, was there an issue with the public transportation system, and that's why people started to leave the building? I don't know why. Was it really because of Sheamus and Roman Reigns? I don't know that answer. I really don't know that answer.
Yeah, when I first started talking about it, I said this Saturday night, it is March 12th, and I've had so many shows on the brain this weekend. When I'm just looking at it, it's like my brain put it on Saturday, March 5th. So once again, my apologies for that on that miscue. Now, I brought up some very, I'm running with some of the points that you're laying out there, and I'm paralleling with a couple that I did. Is there any chance they put the belt on Dean Ambrose Saturday, March 12th on the network? In my book, no. Because I think that would throw the biggest monkey wrench into their build plans for Roman Reigns. Because if he gets the belt at Roadblock and Reigns makes a special appearance after that to come down to the ring, he will be booed out of the building. No ifs, ands, or buts. You notice we're going to Chicago next Monday for Raw. Oh, God, it's going to get ugly.
Unless it's intentional, and they purposefully turn Roman Reigns either A, with the authority, which I think is the wrong move for Reigns, or B, they put him with Heyman and Lesnar.
That wouldn't work either right now because I think that Roman's character, the timing for his character is so fragile that if they even putting him with Heyman would be a mistake. They need to find a way to let his course change naturally and make it look organic. Because anything they do, if they make a sudden change right now, it's going to look knee-jerk and it's going to look like they're panicking. And you know the IWC just as well as I do. I'm sure you read and hear what everybody says. The minute they smell blood in the water, it's on. And there will be no surcease from a lot of the people on the message boards and all the different social media sites. It will be on. I think that this match on March 12th on the network for Roadblock between Ambrose and Tripp is going to be the ultimate barometer to where creative is going to have to sit back and say, oh boy, did we misjudge. You know, the guy's doing things similar. Ambrose's character is doing things in a hybrid methodology between Piper and Austin. And pulling it off with no problem in the least.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the scary part about it. And as it stands right now, do I think in my gut, do I want to see Ambrose win the belt? Yes, I would love to see them put the belt on them as an acknowledgement of we effed up. Because when it's just like the situation with Batista a couple of years ago. Oh, Tripp's going to bring his buddy Dave back. We're going to fast track him into the main event at WrestleMania. Going to put the belt on him. Dude, everybody's going to love it. Come on. Be ready for this because you're not going to be ready for the reaction you're going to get from these crowds. And he wasn't ready to get booed out of the building.
Right.
You know, and here's the trick, that vaunted Royal Rumble, to which people still sit back, some people still sit back and talk about Rey Mysterio being booed. Rey Mysterio was not being booed. The number 30 not being Daniel Bryan was being booed. Rey Mysterio just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And my perspective on this is simple. They know that they realize every once in a while when they screw up. That's why they did put the belt on DB that day at Mania. For which I have all the respect in the world for the fact that they were willing to right the ship in the middle of the stream, and it's like, okay, let's give the fans what they want and see how they react. And by God, they did. Merch in droves. Ticket sales didn't waver in the least. And then they had to go and screw up and get the kid hurt. But tying this one up in a neat little bow. Once again, I'm taking what you're saying, and you are very right on a number of things. If they put the belt on Ambrose, it's almost going to be an admission of guilt. I believe that if they were to try to do something and make it a fatal four-way for the main event of Mania with Ambrose, Lesnar, Reigns, and Tripp, there are two endings to that match, and neither of them involve Reigns or Hunter. Because people are going to be watching that match to see one of two things happen. Lesnar win the belt or Ambrose keep the belt. Any other answer is going to be met with a severe negative backlash. Agree or disagree?
There's always ways to spin out it. I mean, the other day I was joking with somebody, and this was a joke, and the second I said it, they were like, oh my gosh, what if, and I don't know what his status is, what if Seth Rollins is good to go at WrestleMania? What if he comes in, and though, he is not, this was, not where we're at right now, he comes in and, hey Seth, why are you carrying a briefcase to the ring? You're not a Money in the Bank champion. Oh, well, wait a minute. I was promised by the Authority, anytime I wanted, I get my title shot, and I want it right now. Could that happen? Could that be a possibility?
I like the idea.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in that world. So you always have to sort of be prepared for what you never expect.
Also, one more before I let you enjoy the rest of your night. Your thoughts on whether or not Shane will be in-ring talent at Mania.
I want to say it's a trick. I want to say we're being duped. We're being somehow deceived. I've seen everything from it's going to be the fake Undertaker from a couple, from way back. It's going to be not Shane. It's going to be like Shane and the Mean Street Posse or the Undertaker. I've seen every possible scenario and combination of what it could be. I really, really don't know. But it has me interested in finding out what happens.
Therein lies the question. I have 4 scenarios that have played in my head. Number 1, none of them involve Shane being in-ring talent. We find out that inside the lockbox is the buyout from the WCW deal. And there were things in there that Vince did not take in, that they have never been made public. They had a lot of things that weren't made public during that deal, and they can play that finely now. If it weren't for the fact that I'm not sure if he's going to be 100% healthy, the first thing that popped in my head is that Shane is attacked and injured and has Sting come in to face off against Taker. That's the first thing that popped in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, the title match is going to be a triple threat because Shane McMahon's going to get Brock Lesnar to be his second. Because remember, Shane and Heyman were part of the alliance together. Make sense?
It does.
There are 2 others that are in play. One of them is John Cena. If Cena were to be healthy enough, remember Cena's match, he wants Taker. So if you were to get Cena versus Taker at Mania in Jerry World, a lot of people are going to sit back and go, thank God we have another top flight match. Because Cena and Taker are going to take care of each other. Mm-hmm. And in this circumstance, people would actually cheer for John Cena to go over Taker regardless, and that would be the solidifying factor of Taker being the heel in the circumstance. The bad blood between Lesnar and Taker is negligible because you don't acknowledge either. Most people don't acknowledge either as face or heel in their feud, even with Taker and the Nutshot. But there is one other that has popped into my head, and I'm still trying to get the logistics worked out on it, so I'm going to hold off on that one. But those are the big 3 that pop into my head. 1 is Sting, 2 is Cena, 3 is Lesnar. Do you see any validity in those?
I can't. Because here's the weird thing. Though they keep saying, Shane isn't going to be back after WrestleMania, and that's pretty much already been decided, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yes, but I don't see a situation where The Undertaker wins and the Authority stays in control of Raw. For now. It doesn't, both those things seem like it feels like Shane needs to win. Oh, but we all know The Undertaker's going to win. And I'm like, how can both of those things really be true? What is it? What's the trick that is going to be pulled out of the bag, the rabbit in the hat that we don't see?
Therein lies the funny part because, like I said, in no circumstance do I see Shane actually taking on Taker. Because even though there was one hell of a buzz about it for 24 hours, people started weighing the logistics. You're going to put Shane against Taker. The first thing popped in the first words that I said when Vince announced Mania Taker, I said, well, Shane, was good to have you here for 6 weeks. Best of luck in your future endeavors. But we're just before the top of the hour, and I'm going to go ahead and say, Phil, do me a favor. I'm going to go and turn the floor back over in your direction for a minute. Last call, last thoughts, last topics. And, of course, the legendary shameless plugs.
I think you enjoy the fact when I go on my last thought, because I think I've gone a little crazy the last 2 times I've done it. So I'm going to have you pick a topic for me, and I will gladly discuss anything you'd like for me to discuss.
Okay. Any topic?
Any topic.
Okie doke. UFC 196 this coming weekend. McGregor versus Diaz.
I am a McGregor fan. I want McGregor to win. I think he has a tough challenge in front of him. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely want him to win. I think when people have doubted the UFC, and I was like, wait a minute, just wait, give it a second. Look what they're doing. They're doing copying pro wrestling. And here's Conor McGregor. This is the Dean Ambrose of the UFC right now. This is the guy that everybody wants to see. Nick Diaz is, I don't know if I could singularly describe how they're defining Nick Diaz, the troublemaker, but not in the way that, like, Conor McGregor is sort of the rebellious troublemaker. I really don't know how to word it. I'm all for McGregor.
Do I think that for 1 second Nate Diaz can shock the world in this fight? No. I really don't, because I think Diaz has had his roller coaster rides over the last couple of months, or last year, and I think McGregor is on such a roll that he is legitimately right now a 172-pound steamroller who better be back at 170 by the end of the week. Do I see this going the distance? No. Do I see this ending first round? I believe it or not, I think Diaz is going to find a way to make it go to second round, one way or another, by hook or by crook. I think that Diaz is going to stand up to a little bit of the challenge. Do I think it'll be over as fast as Aldo? Hell no. And I think that was a fluke, and I'm sorry. That is where UFC proved to everybody, it's like, okay, for those of you who thought the UFC wasn't fixed, you have this fight now. So, and don't forget, also on this card, this coming Saturday, March 5th, once again, this is going to be on pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. The Preacher's Daughter, back inside the octagon, taking on the number 2 ranked contender in Miesha Tate, who, as of this current press photo, looks like she's had a boob job. But your thoughts? What? Either that or they just naturally got bigger because of I don't know. But they're both clocking in at 135 bantam. But it may just also be the angle too. Your thoughts, Holly Holm, Miesha Tate?
So, I like Holly Holm. She's tremendously accomplished. You beat Ronda Rousey, something that a lot of people, not you though, but a lot of people thought was going to be an unaccomplishable feat. But what I'm afraid of is that overconfidence going to lead to Buster Douglas syndrome? Is she going to simply not be up to the challenge when she goes up against Tate? I hate to say it like that. Is it that she could get a little too overconfident in herself and her own abilities? I do think she's going to pull off the victory, but I think she's going to have a tougher challenge than people really are going to take credit for.
There is one stat that jumps out at me when it comes to Holly Holm versus Miesha Tate this weekend. Significant strikes landed per minute. Now, remember, Miesha's coming in with a 17-5-0 record. Holly's coming in 10-0. But that significant strikes per minute, 4.09 versus 2.04 in the favor of Holm, is one that you have to pay a lot of attention to. Accuracy, however, 33.33% for Holm, 43.8% for Tate. Holm is going to land more significant strikes. But once again, the accuracy does lean a little bit toward Tate. Remember the fact there are 12 more fights in Miesha's corner than there are in Holm's in the UFC. And I will say the same thing now that I said about Holly Holm going into the Rousey fight. The keys for victory. 1, establish the jab. Use your hands as the weapon they are. 2, establish the distance. Use your kickboxing background to keep Tate off balance. 3, Stick with what brought you to the dance. Now is not the time to get flashy and try to take things to a different level. Stick to the basics. Remember what brought you to the dance. And Holly Holm will defeat Misha Tate this coming Saturday night live on pay-per-view. Want to take that one?
I'm there with you. I really am there. I really think Holm's going to walk away.
Go ahead and toss them, my friend. Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs, of course, we talked about Maryland Championship Wrestling. Check us out, MarylandWrestling.com. This Sunday, it's Tag Wars. Jim Ross, Jerry Lawler, Booker T, the Nasty Boys. So much more taking place this Sunday in Joppa, Maryland. And then next weekend, on the 12th, make sure that you check out Grand Slam Wrestling. That's gswrestling.com. Saturday, March 12th, in Music, Pennsylvania, featuring Bull James, formerly known as Bull Dempsey from NXT. Check it out. It's going to be an exciting night of action. And, of course, we talked about Rockstar Pro Wrestling. Check them out at rockstarprowrestling.com. Weekly events every Wednesday. And, of course, their big pay-per-view this Friday, all live from Dayton, from the Rockstar Pro Arena at 1106 East 3rd Street in Dayton, Ohio.
Folks, by the way, and of course, your personal plugs.
And you can make sure you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at PSGenom. That's PSPHENOM.
Wrestling promoters, if you have an upcoming live event, be sure to send the information to...
You can send it to me through Twitter at PSPhenom or at Nate_Stein at hotmail.com.
Let me go ahead and run these now real quick because I'm going to head for the Radio Ranch right along beside of you. Folks, once again, this coming Saturday, Peach State Wrestling Alliance in Carrollton, Georgia. This coming Sunday, Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment over in Atlanta, Georgia at the Famous Pub. We're going to have a lot more information on both of those shows this coming Saturday on the Shooters Gallery. Tune in 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. I was working like a madman to try to get everything. Here we go. Live programming will resume tomorrow, March 2nd for the To Be Determined show, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Thursday, March 3rd, Corner to Corner is back at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central. Saturday Showcase, the Shooters Gallery, as stated, on this coming Saturday the 5th. Once again, 11 a.m. Eastern. And BR Live will be on hiatus this coming Sunday due to the factor of, in its regular time slot, we will not be broadcasting. Be broadcasting a little bit later in the evening live from AWE. Sorry, I've got to clarify that. Mark Mabo Bowman will be on location commentary with Twin States Wrestling in Piedmont, Alabama, 627 Southern Avenue this coming Sunday. For our friends in Eastern Alabama, definitely check it out. Remember, BeyondRingside.com, Facebook.com/BeyondRingsideLive, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, and, of course, the all-new ProWrestlingRadio.net. For me personally, looking forward to seeing everybody this coming Friday night, Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster, 9 p.m. start time. For everybody who's been asking me about the update on what's going on down there, all ages welcome to sing from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. 15 and under must have parental or guardian supervision. 16 and up, you're good for the first hour. After 10 o'clock Central Time, 18 and up, no exceptions. We do ID. So once again, Tim, Cece, Rick, Jeff, Reagan, everybody down at B-Dubs Alabaster, I'm really looking forward to seeing y'all. And I meant to mention this on Sunday. Katie, very best of luck in what you got coming up around the corner. Congratulations on the new job. I'm going to miss seeing you down at B-Dubs. Definitely word on that one. At Fast Eddie Layne on Twitter, as a lot of you now know, you can find me on there. And some of you know how to DM me when you follow me, and I follow you back. Ha-ha. From there, FastEddieLayne.com is the home site. And once again, thank you to everybody who was listening into BeyondRingside.com, the TuneIn radio app, Beyond Ringside's mobile app, ProWrestlingRadio.net, Shoutcast Radio, Ustream. Thank you so much for hanging with us tonight. Let's take it that way. For my tag team partner, the Phenom, Phil Stamper.
Also the president of wrestling and Mr. Nate Stein.
There you go. See, I was wondering if you remember that's where you say goodbye. Because when I say I am the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Layne, saying until next time, join us right here as we all go beyond ringside. Bye for now.